A couple of years ago, we experimented with a concept called Sparkle. The idea is very simple. Fintechs have a lot of ideas, very strong technology, good domain expert, but they're solving very niche problems. Banks want bigger impact. Financial institutions want bigger impact when they start working with smaller companies. So what did we do? We started talking to FIs and identifying some large problems they think we should solve. Then we started working with the fintechs. We started with about 200 startups, and then we narrowed it down to about 25 and started working with them. And we now have about 10 solutions ready and in the market and in production. So why did it work? It's because we looked at what problems from the bank side, we looked at what large problems they want to solve and where they believe that internal teams cannot solve. We talked to the fintechs and found out where are they good at. They're really quick, they move very quickly, they can solve problems with the latest, greatest, and the most advanced technologies out there. What we did was just put them together. An example of something we worked on is this, compliance is usually a very boring area for most people. But banks and FIs spend a lot of money on compliance, and a lot of this is manual. And the biggest problem with compliance is that you code for it, and then the law changes. And you got to go back and do this all over again. And one of the problems a bank threw at us was that they said, everybody knows here the know your customers. If you've ever been to a bank, they always do your KYC. So there's a KYC, then they do a KYV, which is know your vendor, then there is a know your employer, and know your employee. And each of this is done in a very customized way. Sometimes they use a product, sometimes they use their own internal solutions built by a budget given by that department. They said, I don't want so many systems. Can you use cognitive and build me a new solution? And the biggest challenge we faced is how do you take regulations that are ever-changing and then convert them to rules using an engine? We looked at, we can't do this ourselves. So we connected with about 8 startups in different areas, each who do their part really, really well. And we build a solution. We actually solve the problem for the bank. Right? 30% savings, 50% faster in what they did. So if you are a fintech, you need to look at how do you solve larger, bigger, more relevant problems for the large enterprises. And if you're a large enterprise, there is no choice but to work with fintechs in areas that you choose, that you deliberately decide to work on. Finally, I think why I like this event is we're bringing together the 2 parties I mentioned, the most important, large enterprises and fintechs. So use this opportunity to network, learn about each other, and really truly find some use cases that you can work together and solve some really big problems. And that's why we are in the Valley. Thank you.